Okeagbe was founded in 1924. And that's why we are celebrating 100 years of the existence of this city. Before then, the 4 towns that make Okeagbe today were in their different abodes, original abodes. And that is why we have 4 Obas. Because in their original abodes, they had their own Obas individually. As for my town, Oge, we emanated from Ile-Ife direct, because the head of this town, Owage, was from Ile-Ife, one of the sons of Oduduwa. Omige was his name. Omige was his name, one of the sons of Oduduwa himself. And that is why they always ask for me. In fact, when last the late Oni was here, the first person he asked for was Owage, because history told him that Omige, who founded my town, was one of the sons of Oduduwa. So when my ancestors left Ile-Ife, they first established in a place called Akbole. Akbole is former homestead. The native name, if I call it, is a little clumsy, but it's about 10-12 kilometers from here, very close to Ekiti. And you know, part of Ekiti was part of Umu, for example, was part of Akoko. Only recently, in recent years, that they seceded and joined Ekiti. Mainly because they said they didn't understand our language. Akoko language is quite different. But when Umu people talk, they talk like Ekiti people. So they felt odd within Akoko setting. So they had to join their so-called brothers and sisters. So Oge, which I'm heading, which is my own town in Okeagbe, emanated from Ile-Oge. They now call it Ile-Oge in Ile-Ife, but it is Ile-Oge. So that's where we came from. And when this village is settled around here, late Ajikin Lennon, a Jamaican black man who was a missionary, Anglican missionary, was sent to this area, and he was living on a hill in Ikare. That hill is now called Uri Okeala Bojuto, because he was the administrator of this area. Alabojuto administrator. So he was living on that hill. There was no road except farm footpaths. And he was being carried by people, by men. They made a kind of armor. He would sit in the middle and people would carry him in front and at the back. because there was no road, it was through bush paths and so on. So he went round Akoko area and found that my domain could relocate from far away in the bush here with 3 or 2 other groups. Afa is on the way from Ikare, the first place you get to, passing through that place. Then you come down, Ido is that side, Aje is that side, and my town here, this way. What happened was, Ajikin Lennon advised that those towns that constitute Okeagbe now should just settle and back the direction of their old abodes. That's why we're here. Our papa came from the hills we are looking at. We came from, like I said, some 10-12 kilometers from here. And Ido came from that side too. And I give from this Karamo direction. So we all met here on the advice of late Ajikin. I think God wanted to establish Okeagbe. God blessed the establishment of Okeagbe right from the beginning. I had an issue. One thing that really bound us together was the common dialect that we spoke and were still speaking. It may not be very, the same. It may not be very the same, but we understand ourselves when we speak the dialect. And it's getting more and more refined because of education, because of the understanding and love that we have for each other. My town here understands the other side when they are speaking their dialect, and we can speak it, but maybe not as perfect as they speak, but definitely we understand ourselves clearly. And most of the things that most of the things that are common to us have the same name in our dialects. And we became more bounded together when Ajikin Lennon suggested we should settle here, and we did. And we really, netted together as a town. So I think those were the factors really. And then of course when we met here, we started to do things in common. We built primary school together for our children. Maybe I was one of the children in those days. We built secondary modern school. I'm not sure if it still exists. If it does, it has been relegated to the background. We built secondary schools together. I am one of the pioneer students of Ajua Grammar School. We resumed exactly February 10, 1960 into Form 1. The high school is there, built by the community as well. Down the side, on the way to Moekiti. And we had so many things in common. We have so many things in common. Where we fetch water is called Ajua. And we named that secondary school, the first secondary school here, Ajua Grammar School. And we have another secondary school down there. Okeagbe High School, we call it. Yeah. The primary school, we have so many primary schools, built by community and missionaries, or what do you call them, religious, yes, what do you call it? That's right, okay, like, we have Ansarudin Primary School, Apostolic Primary School, we have Catholic Primary School, we have LA Primary School, we have Catholic Primary School, we have Anglican Primary School, that is in the center. Yes, the purpose is what I have just said, but the first primary school here is one in the center facing the market place. That's the primary school I attended. I resumed that primary school in 1953, and but I had seniors there, That primary school was established in 1948 or so. Yeah. Ajua is a goddess, water goddess, and we adopted that name because the whole of this area is the goddess domain. The goddess domain. Though different towns came to settle here, but they found that the goddess of the whole area is Ajua. Because it is the name of the goddess in this area that in those days, many of our ancestors were idol worshippers. Before the missionaries came and brought Christianity to us, they were mostly idol worshippers. And the God they know, or they knew rather, was the one they were worshipping, the local gods Ajua, and so on and so forth. So they adopted Ajua as the name of the new town which settled in 1924. That's how the name came up. Yeah, that's how the name came up, because each of these towns was in its own local homestead, and they had their gods connected with. They used to come from there to come and worship Ajua. There are one or two other towns now. You see, at the time this place was there were 16 towns that were to settle to form Okeagbe. Some got here and went back to their homestead, former homestead, and some got here and settled. Out of those towns that proposed to come and settle here are the four that remain here now. Maybe because they got here, they found they didn't have enough space, or they got here, they found that maybe it was too far away from the water or where they worship. Some of them went back. But those of us who remained here, we worship the goddess together. And that's why even though locally too, we have some other small goddesses there. Like my own town has Mabaru as its own goddess here. But the common goddess to us is Ajua. Yes, I was born here, not from the former homestead. I was born right here, and all my youthful period I spent here. When I was born, before I was born, they had established a primary school here, but it was of a limited class, because I grew to know that if children started primary school here, they will go and end in another town which had a higher class. The primary school here was limited to standard 2 or standard 1 that time, and as soon as you get to that class, you move to another town which had up to standard 6. But as time went on and people became stronger, you see, let me tell you, in those days, teachers were very, very scarce. I remember before I left primary school, Okeagbe people contributed money to go and buy a teacher. Standard 6 qualification from Ondo. That teacher was grade 2 teacher. That teacher was Mr. Owage, I think, if not, because I was in school already. They contributed money to go and buy him from Ondo, because our school had reached standard 4, and they were going to standard 5 and then standard 6. They needed a grade 2 teacher who was acceptable to government to run such classes. Hitherto it was maybe standard 4 or something that they had, or standard 6. So, but they needed a grade 2 teacher who had gone to teacher training college and could manage a higher. I witnessed it. I was in school. Well, let me tell you the facts about me. I'm from a Muslim home. My father was a staunch Muslim and one of the most prominent Muslim members in this town. So when I started school, the only school we had here was brought by Deacon Lennon, a Christian school. That's St. George's Primary School. And in those days, if you were admitted into that school, you must change to become a Christian. Okay, Chief Guy Gajulo, G-U-Y, then Gajulo, is an Italian name. So Gajulo was a British Italian, or Italian British, because he claimed to be an Englishman. But later he told us he was born in Italy, a citizen of Italy, but came to UK to get educated and became an Englishman, a British man. Chief Guy Gajulo, I was in Form 3 in Ajua Grammar School as a member of pioneer students in Ajua Grammar School, which opened, like I said, on February 10, 1960. So we had one late Adamolepo as our principal, pioneer principal, 60-61. he left us suddenly because the school was community school, paying the teachers' salaries and paying for developments and everything. The government had not taken it over then. So it was tough raising that school and financing it. However, and we were in boarding house. I remember the first school fees we paid was £57 a year. It was £13 something, per term or something. Yeah, that was the first school fees as pioneer students that we were paying there. It was £57 per annum, and divided into 3, you will find it's £13 something per term of 3 something. So that's what we were paying. It was big in the face of our parents because there was nothing here, no money. Some parents could not afford conveniently. They could not afford that fees at a go. Yeah, they would still, send them out of school to go and bring school fees. How much is £13 now? So when Guy Gajilo came, he came in 1963 when we were to resume in Form 4. So we actually resumed in Form 4, and he came in early enough in the year because we had no principal. Our principal left in 1960, end of 1961. Our pioneer's principal left. Apparently he was dissatisfied because his salary was not being paid regularly because the community was contributing money to pay, and other teachers too. An Anglican under whose school was placed, it used to be Adua Anglican Grammar School, but now we just call it Adua Grammar School. In those days, you have to put such a school under a missionary, under a mission, so that they will do all arrangements about teachers, about other facilities from government. So we were in Form 2, Form 3, going to Form 4, when our people were looking for somebody who head the school and for us to continue. As a matter of fact, they didn't succeed until early 63. They had arranged that those of us in in higher classes then, like Form 3, Form 2, students to be distributed to secondary schools around because there was no principal. However, the town was lucky through our people, our elders in Lagos, and so to find Gajulo, who willingly accepted to come and head the school after an inspection. He came one Sunday morning and he inspected the school. It was then we suspected that he was going to come. And after he left, rumors went around that the new principal, a white man, will come and take over the school. And when we resumed in Form 4, 1963, he appeared and took over the school as principal. We were very happy for it, because already some of us in the classes that the higher classes were already being distributed. Arrangement was already made for us to be sent to other schools. However, Kajilo came and rescued us, and he came to take us to Form 4 in 1963. Those of us first set. So he was with us till last year or so, or 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, that he just came and said, well, he was leaving. And we said, so yeah, we sent him off. We really, because we were his children, sort of. We regarded ourselves as his children. And he even said that we were his children. Kajilo was not married. He had no child until he left the earth. He regarded us as his children. Then later he regarded us as his father, since I became mother and so on. Anyway, we made him citizen of this town because of that school which he held and developed. That was Guy Gajulu. He even went to England we brought him back. We buried him here. Though when he died in England. So his body was cremated, put in a bottle, and we buried him here at the side of the dam. Because when he came was when he built that dam through communal effort. And he had requested that if it happens, his body should be buried there. So we brought him from England and buried his ash. Let me tell you briefly. You know the primary school already and secondary. I went to Lagos after my secondary school school certificate examination. In those days, the result of WAEC used to come out about April, early April, mid-April, and so on. But I was lucky in my own case. When I got to Lagos, I got a job straight as a custom officer within the week that I got there. So I had to come and prepare to resume duty. So when I went back, resumed duty, I was ambitious as I wanted to, pursue academics and become a university graduate. I was very ambitious. Even the work I was doing, which many people were seeking, were looking for. To be a custom officer, you know what it was in those days. So, I sat after about 2 or so years, 3 years in the customs, I was taking lectures from Wolsey Hall in England, correspondence course. But each time I left work, I closed from work and took my books to go and read after resting a little at home. Whenever I got to where I was doing my private reading, I would just fall asleep. I said, no, I cannot continue like this. By this way, I will never pass advanced level papers, which I had already entered for. I decided to leave that job to come back to school. In fact, I came home during Easter. I had paid deposit of my higher school certificate course in Victory College. So when I got home that year, said, okay, I paid some money here, so let me go and resume. So I sent my resignation papers from British College. I discovered the papers were not delivered after first time. So I had to go to Lagos to resign so that they would not count me as a runaway person or something. In those days, it was very wrong for you to leave your job without resigning and so on. So I went back and resigned normally and formally prepared. And since I had put in for advanced level before coming to school, it was still there. And when I got to Victory College, Higher School 1, it used to be Higher School 1, Higher School 2, HSC 1, HSC 2, to do final year HSC or advanced level. But I came in, and since I had entered for advanced level in Lagos, I was still in Higher School 1 when it was time for me to sit the exam through to the new year. In those days, higher school advanced level examinations used to start beginning of December, because I entered for economics, which I read in the university. So it used to be sat in advanced level early December in those days. So I went and sit for my advanced level papers examination in Akure. That was the center then. And the rest, I sat in Akure as well, but I had to do it while in Lagos. Luckily, when we resumed Higher School 2 and the results were out in Victory College, I was senior prefect there. I was senior prefect of Victory College, and I was very popular. I was a footballer, I was an athlete, and I wasn't doing badly in academics, so I was very popular. And when the results of the advanced level papers came during my second year in higher school, I cleared the papers I sat for with distinction. So I had to leave for the university because I got admission in Ahmadu Bello University in Ife and in Ibadan. And in those days, it used to be individual. There was no JAMB, nothing like JAMB. So it used to be individual admission through advanced level or whatever. So the first admission I got was from Ahmadu Bello University. They used to pick their candidates first. And so I sent my deposit to ABU's area. Later on, Ife came and gave me admission, Ibadan gave me admission, but because ABU had given me admission to read economics, I preferred ABU. Ife gave me admission to read geography, I think, yeah, and Ibadan gave me admission to read economics. But since I had paid, for ABU, and I was eager to leave this environment, so I decided to go to Zaria, and which I really enjoyed. Yes, I really enjoyed it. I got to Zaria, got a scholarship immediately, federal government scholarship, to pursue my course. And I was living in a separate room. That luxury was not available in any southern university. And ABU was international then. Yes, it was known all over the world, in Europe, in America, and so on. Principally because about 85-90% of our staff were whites. Yeah, in ABU. During the time I was there. So, where these white people, where they used to connect with their homes and their countries, and ABU become so popular, even though to us in the south, Ibadan was Pioneer University, if you remember, established in 1948. Yeah. And as at that time, ABU was College of Technology and something. But they later, converted that to university for the North.